What is going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii, back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Dude, we have the info already. What is going on, dude? Like, the episode doesn't come out till Sunday for most parts of the world, Saturday, depending on where you live. And we already have the info. It's Thursday. It's currently my birthday, by the way. So this is an awesome birthday present to actually get the information revealed of what this character actually does. Once again, if you guys are anime onlys, well, look, you shouldn't be. You should be experiencing this with the rest of the fandom. But we're going to be talking about Gear 5 Luffy here. We're going to show his artwork. We're going to show everything. We have the details officially revealed. And I've had a brief look over about what he does. This looks to be one of the best characters in the game, which I think is what everyone has been hoping for. There are still some aspects about it that I wish that they would have done, but I think that what they have done is amazing. So let's go ahead and deep dive right into Gear 5 Luffy. No messing around. Here he is! Sai, Free Spirit, Fighter, Rush Sugo Special, EX Super. I think it's pretty much what most people wanted. I think Rush Sugo makes a lot of sense. Our second Rush Sugo special in the entire game. Thankfully, we have a new one. And I think it looks really, really cool. I love the artwork. And at this current point in time, we don't know if there's going to be an alternating ink pen artwork version of this character. If I had to take a stab at it, I would say there would be. I don't know, though. But let's have a look. Let's deep dive this character. I'm so excited to talk about it. So let's have a look. Let's start off with the captain ability. So, the captain ability of Luffy changes depending on the current form. So there's two different forms of Luffy. The normal form, which says that when the crew's HP is at 0, recover from game over 1 time per quest. He has the revive mechanic. A lot of people predicted it. Yeah, he's got the revive mechanic, which is crazy good. We've seen, V1 Brook have that revive mechanic, but with V1 Brook's kit, you can't really do too much with it. Like, yeah, it has some cool applications, but the fact that a character of this caliber gets access to a revive is absurdity to me. I can't believe it. So, the normal version of Luffy, when you start the quest, has a revive mechanic, and he becomes Gear 5 after he revives. Then, the base version of Luffy, he's just regular captain, boosts Sai and Free Spirit HP by 1.2, 5.5 attack, which is very good, and then also boost other characters' attack by 4.5, so you're still boosting everyone, but, giving big boosts to Sai and Free Spirit, which makes kind of sense. 20% damage reduction, boosts chance of landing Sai recovery, makes Sai recovery matching, consume recovery with perfects, but the real good thing here, reduces special reverse and bind by 10 turns. Like, what? Are you kidding me, dude? A captain ability with special reverse and bind removal, that is phenomenal. So freaking good, dude. Like, even just the base version of this Luffy, amazing. Just so freaking good. But then you have the Gear 5 mechanic, right? So you have to die and then you revive as Gear 5. But there's other things about that we'll talk about. I know some people may be pissed about having to revive to become Gear 5, but there's cool things about that. Gear 5 captain ability. Crew's normal attacks ignore enemies' defensive effects, but cancels crew's defensive effects. This is the exact same wording as like V1 Carrot. So your normal attacks bypass barrier, threshold, nullification, all of those gimmicks. He bypasses all of them. Then he further on says that he boosts Sai Free Spirit HP by 1.2, 6 times attack? Are you kidding me? 6 times attack, especially with EX Super getting an additional affinity boost with Sai, additional stat boost with Free Spirit, like a 6 times captain getting access to super type and super class. Dude, like that's so much damage. And then also boost other characters by 5x, cuts the crew's HP by 10% at the end of each turn. So that's a pretty big drawback, right? Because especially the fact that he's a Rush Sugo special character, you're going to be getting reduced HP with this Gear 5 captain. So that can really hold you back in terms of the amount of Rush Sugo damage that you can do because of all the health cuts. But I think it's a pretty fair trade-off considering you're bypassing defensive effects. It's so good. And then the same as before, Sai recovery appear more often, make them matching, consume recoveries with perfects, and also reduces special reverse and bind by 10 turns. It's just so good. The only real drawback I would say, and this is a very minor nitpick I think, no cooldown reduction in his captain ability. And I think if they added like 1 or 2 turns of cooldown, would just about be a perfect captain ability. But gimmicks alone about what he does here: massive attack boost, decent HP boost, damage reduction in normal form, and then you get access, of course, to the ability to bypass defensive effects as a captain in Gear 5. It just means you don't have to worry about Rainbow Shield, Threshold removal, barrier removal. You just bypass it all. You don't even have to worry about it. Of course, if he is despaired, you lose the ability to bypass defensive effects, which does kind of hurt. But then even in the base form, having the ability to revive is so good. You don't even have to worry about like death mechanics in certain pieces of content. You just beat the content in normal Luffy form and you just revive. It's so good, right? But then if you run double Luffy and you have one of your Luffys as Gear 5 and one as base Luffy, it means you have one Luffy that allows you to bypass defensive effects, and then you have this other Luffy that if you die, you can just revive. So it just seems insane to me. Like, double Luffy is a viable option for sure. Like, this seems absurdly powerful. Captain ability wise, it looks great. I have no real complaints aside from no cooldown reduction, but still, this is awesome. Let's move on to his special though. Special, 15 turns, definitely a bit high because this is with Limit Break expansion. So I assume he's going to go to 16 turns. That's a very high cooldown, right? So the effect itself, 2 million fixed damage to all enemies, ignoring everything, including normal attacks only. Then it boosts color affinity for characters that are both Psi and Free Spirit together by 3x for 1 turn. But then it further says that if you are just a Psi unit or just a Free Spirit unit, you still get 2.75. But it's just if you're combined Psi and Free Spirit, you get 3 times color affinity. Now, those of you out there that know me, I'm not a big fan of color affinity focused specials, so I was really hoping that there was something else here. Luckily, there is, and it says that it will change all slots, including block, into Psi, which of course, as a captain, he makes them beneficial. And then if the special is launched while you're in the Gear 5 form of Luffy, boosts Psi and Free Spirit, so characters that are both Psi and Free Spirit, slot effects by 3.25 for 1 turn. But if you are just a Psi unit or just a Free Spirit unit, you still get 2.75 times all boost. And the real kicker here, reduces every enemy's beneficial effects by 1 turn. So this is a massive effect that you do not see often. This ability is akin to Super Type Blackbeard using his Super Type special. So if the enemy has 1 turn of damage limiter, this special removes it. If they've got 1 turn of, I don't know, it could be anything, right? Like a damage nullification, even though Luffy bypasses it with his normal attacks with his captain ability. It doesn't even matter, right? But the ability to just remove those gimmicks is a huge positive for the character. But honestly, I am kind of annoyed at the fact that he gives color affinity and then he also gives an orb boost, but the orb boost is only in the Gear 5 form. I kind of wish that was swapped. I kind of wish that the orb boost was all the time, but then if you launched it in Gear 5, that's when you get color affinity boost. Because of course, affinity really only helps you if you have type advantage, right? And you know, the fact that he's also a Psi-focused captain means it's only really going to be good versus int. So that's why I'm not the biggest fan of color affinity focused effects, but I think overall it's still pretty good, right? He's a damage dealing special, which is a huge positive, full board of matching slots, color affinity boost, but then if you launch it in Gear 5, you get the orb boost as well, and then removing enemy beneficial effects by 1 turn. It's still pretty good. It's a good effect. Let's continue on with the rest of the effects here though. So the first crewmate ability boosts crew's base stats by 150 and makes sign recovery slots matching. So they're just combining 2 different crewmate abilities into one. That's wild. And then the other effect lets himself completely evade paralysis, which is kind of redundant. This crewmate ability is pretty bad. I wish this was switched out for something else. Maybe like reduce paralysis for the whole crew by 1 turn, I think would have been better. Or something regarding the whole crew would have been better. Anyways, his support effect is a little underwhelming, I must admit, but the effect is still okay. It only attaches to Psi-Free Spirit, but it gives 15% of his base attack. That's absurdly high for a support effect, and I guess we couldn't really expect too much from this character, but, you know, still support effect is okay, I guess. At least it's for the attack. It could have been worse. It could have been just HP or something, okay? We won't talk about the Rush Sugo just yet. Let's have a look at the EX effect. So this is the new mechanic coming into the game, which allows you to inflict Super Type and Super Class simultaneously. So with this effect here, you need 3 of these characters on the crew, and that's a huge drawback. You need these 3 specific units. So you've got any of the Straw Hats, you've got Yamato, Law, Kid, and Momo. So you need to have 3 of those listed characters in order to get access to the EX effect. Pretty big drawback, but still, it's a good pool of characters at least. But I'm thinking like more in the future for other characters with EX Super. because we know that some characters with their super tandems, it's very difficult to get it to work. So if they're bringing EX Super into the game, they've got to be very careful about how they introduce characters to work with this unit, right? The EX Super Special is very good though, changing the attack multiplier of Psi and recovery slots to 3x. This is like the most craziest thing I've ever seen, right? The fact that you can make Psi slots, which this character with this special gives you, become a 3 times multiplier. So what this basically means is, normally when you have a matching slot, it's a 2 times multiplier. We all understand that. When you have a Wano slot, it's a 2.5 times multiplier. What this is saying is his EX Super Special makes Psi and recovery slots better than a Wano slot, which is bonkers. So good. So the amount of damage you get just because of this, and then the fact that he also provides you with an ability that allows you to get a huge orb boosting effect, stacking that with a 3 times multiplier on the orb itself, very strong damage. Then it furthermore says, changes this character into Gear 5. Cannot be removed by the enemy. So this is cool, right? Because it means that you don't have to die in order to activate Luffy Gear 5. You can just use his EX Super Special in order to trigger the Gear 5 ability. So I like that. I like that there are multiple ways to get this effect to activate. And it is cool, and it means you can have one as Luffy and one as not, and that's what I was mentioning a bit earlier, is the fact that you can have one as Gear 5, one as not, and you can have the ability to bypass defensive effects, but you could also have a revive mechanic at the same time. If it does work like that, I think we're in for a really good show. And then of course, free spirit characters become super free spirit, so they get free spirit characters get a 1.2 stat boost, and then Psi characters become super Psi, receiving a 1.25 affinity boost. Very strong, the fact that you can have the super type and super class on a character that you know, has up to a 6 times captain ability multiplier. That's so strong. And of course, Rush Sugo Special. So you want to get some dupes for his Rush Sugo Special. Now, the activation requirement is really bizarre. So you have to be at the final battle, and this character is either in A, Gear 5 form, or B, performs the 6th tap of an attack. So this is really bizarre to me, because the way that Rush Sugo Special works, you actually want the first character in the chain to actually get this, because it means it gives the buff to the rest of the crew. Because it says here, reduces HP by a certain amount, but allows to perform a rush. As the rush taps connect, cumulatively boost the chain and boost the attack of the finish tap of character up to 0.6 chain multiplier and the rush attack boost of 2.6. So this seems pretty good, right? But if this works the exact same way as Sanji, you definitely want the first character in the chain to attack. But it's gonna be interesting, right? Because, right, the way that it says, at the final battle, if the character is in Gear 5 or performs the 6th tap of the attack. So you can have Luffy in Gear 5 and then attack with like 2 other characters first, and then if Luffy's in Gear 5 and that's like the 3rd attack of the chain, that should still trigger the Rush Sugo Special, the way that this is worded. So we have to wait. You can click this little button here to see some more abilities. I really wish that they showed that, because it does give you more details as to how this actually works, but I'm very intrigued, and I think it's pretty strong. This Rush Sugo Special, we'll have to see how it all works together, but you know, captain ability, EX Super, special ability, all incredibly strong, and especially as that captain ability is monstrous. And the fact that he's also free spirit synergizes so well with a lot of those other free spirit focused captains that also provide lots of beneficial buffs. This is going to be a god tier unit, man. This is a very, very strong unit in One Piece Treasure Cruise. That's not all though. We need to talk about his Rumble stuff and have a look at his little sprite there. Look at little Luffy go. Oh man, he looks so cool. I'm so excited to get this character. He looks so sick. All right, let's have a look at his Rumble kit, right? He's an attack style unit, which is what we all hoped he was going to be. We don't like defensive style units in Rumble, let's be real. Let's have a look at his special ability. So in Rumble, 34 CT, a little bit on the high end. He targets enemies in a large horizontal range for 4,500 fixed, and then Psi teammates get level 5 attack for 30 seconds, and then targets one enemy with high HP for 1.5 damage, ignoring defense. I actually like the way that this is structured, because you do really good fixed damage, and then you do the attack buff, and then you do the ignoring damage. damage, and that fixed damage is very high. Like 4,500 is very, very, very good. The thing is that the enemies do have abilities to reduce fixed damage. I can't remember off the top of my head. Guard up, I believe guard percent up, and some portions of defense. I don't know the exact mathematical calculation of it. There are ways for the enemy to reduce fixed damage, so I don't know how good this is really going to be, but when you have a look at this Rumble ability, he gives Psy attack 5, defense 5, speed 5, crit 5. It's very good. And then he also self-revives 1 time up to 50% health. I think Rumble ability alone is going to be a hard carry, but I do think actually that, you know, this special, it has its uses. I think it's going to be solid. And then you have his GP burst. So you have to do 60,000 damage to the enemy, and then it targets all enemies for 2.4 damage, ignoring defense. Incredibly good. And then Psy, Dex, and Strength receive attack and speed up level 8 and defense level 4, and then half stat reduction for 30 seconds. That's big. That's actually a really good burst skill against like opposing Rogers, for example. And then the actual skill, the GP skill, gives Psy teammates attack HP 6, CT speed up 2. That's very strong. And Strength and Dex receive HP speed up 5 and defense 2. The Strength and Dex stuff isn't the best, but the Psy buffs are actually very strong, actually. So that's Monkey D. Luffy Gear 5, man. I cannot wait to see even more of this character. And look, we don't even know if there's going to be like a new batch associated with this. There most likely will, and how that's going to synergize with this too. I'm so excited. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, guys, down below in the comment section. Gear 5 Luffy has been officially revealed. Do you guys like what you see? Is there something that you wish was on this character? I would have kind of liked to have seen Rush and Final Tap. I think that would have been really dope. And I kind of wish he had cooldown reduction in his captain ability, but I don't think it's that big of a deal considering how good the rest of his captain ability actually is. Hopefully you enjoyed this video though, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.